you have something else, Donnie, to say after that?
You said an ideal.
I'm just saying, 14% of men are are 6 foot tall. So if you cut that in half, because half of them are married, you're only at like 7% there. And then like some of them are probably players or dorks or whatever the hell after that. So it's like 7% just low to me. And that's not even including income, you know. So like that's where it gets a little bit scary when you start shooting high. But she said like 5'10", so she's a little more realistic. But y'all are fucked.
Wow. 5'11".
I believe the odds are in my favor.
Hey, I know y'all see it. I know the DMs be telling you that.
When you're a taller type of girl, I think that the taller men look for you. So I
honestly argued a lot against it until I thought really hard about what somebody said the other day about how they wanted a tall guy because if they're tall and they have tall kids, then those kids won't suffer in the dating marketplace, and that is true. Well, a tall woman I think will suffer, but if you have sons, he definitely needs to have the height. So technically, you are going to make better sons happier in that if you do something like that. In my opinion, maybe, you know.
I did have a follow-up question with that.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So AP, this might be for each of you. AP, you mentioned about you chasing after guys. I'm curious. Let's say, how many guys have you ever chased after, and how many were you successfully able to actually obtain? Whether it be like getting a date, whether it be getting a number, whatever the case may be. What would you say your ratio look like?
I would say I have never not gotten somebody that I've shot at.
Mm-hmm.
However, none of those relationships worked out.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. At least you got the chance, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for all three of the ladies now. What do you think the odds would be, the ratio for a man shooting a shot at a woman?
Yeah, go ahead.
Depends on the woman he's shooting at. Exactly. If you're shooting out of your league, then you need to
lower
the goal a little bit. In general, I'm gonna say.
Let's say out of 100%, 25%.
25%.
Wow.
25 to 35.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. I would say 25 also.
Okay.
25. What if I told you that a guy that lands 10% is an all-time player?
He's a G if he gets 10%.
Would that surprise you?
No, because he's obviously shooting a lot.
Yeah.
And he's not shooting very well. So
but you just never know. Like a girl might have a boyfriend, or she might be not feeling it that night. You never know. So that's why there's a 1 in 10 chance of it working out usually.
Women also outnumber men. So it would
and we always hear that, but when I look at the actual statistics, it's like a very small amount. Like it's super
that small amount is enough to turn
that little 5%. I guess I don't know.
So with that being said, would you think that it's because women have a higher standard and not necessarily just society? Because I know I've heard it being mentioned earlier in the episode that society has these standards on men. Is it not only just society, it's also women of why they have such a low success rate?
Repeat the question.
So you're asking, like, is it because women have higher standards?
Correct.
Oh, no.
No, not all women got standards at all.
I think it comes down to options.
It's options. Because if you got a lot of options, then you can afford to say no to somebody that's coming up to you. But if you straight up have no options and like you just don't care, you come in, you want what you can get, then they're going to say yes for sure. But like, no. Some girls.
A lot of options, kind of like how we're supposed to have 14 women on the panel, but we only end up with 3.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Fuck y'all ladies for bailing out on
that. Chat, we had 14 girls.
Hey, Donnie said that. Note the time. What is it? 9:36 p.m. Eastern time. Donnie mentioned that shit. Fuck y'all.
Fuck y'all. Yeah, he said it.
Yikes.
No. All right. So now, Byron, what? I don't know what I missed, bro. But I would totally like to read your chat if you could find what he was talking about. Sergio, he said Sergio's not even watching the chat. But no, I want to know now, ladies. Is it hard to be a man, or is it hard to be a woman in today's society? Which one do you think's harder?
Man.
Be a man.
It's harder to be a man.
Which one's harder? Come on.
I gotta say a woman. No, I gotta say a woman.
You think a woman?
Gotta say a woman.
I would love to hear these.
I got a really good example afterwards here.
I'm gonna say a man.
You think a man? So I'll explain to you somebody who actually did an experiment to test this. There was a woman who already had a somewhat deep voice, and she was a lesbian. So she chose to become a man to see what it was like. She wanted to write about it. She wanted to basically become a man and just see how it felt, because she actually thought it was easy. She did the whole experiment to prove that it's harder to be a woman than a man. She killed herself. She said that it was so horrible because she was ignored by so many people. She got treated like shit by so many women and so many people that she ended up killing herself. This is the one person that ever even tried to do an experiment like this that was a woman. That's so if y'all ever want to think, which one's harder, one person who actually tried to experiment with it ended up killing themselves over it. So that's how hard it can be to be a man sometimes.
Also, but like
I like your
Oh.
look, some.
So
I
I'll
can't-
say
I
this for you.
can't. I
Like,
No, go ahead. I'm
Please
listening.
Well,
Go.
in defense
You
of
go.
you, I will say, as far as lifestyle goes, it is harder for a woman, and I'll explain why.
Hmm.
For women, we are in charge of creating as well as sustaining life.
Mhm.
So we are in charge of a lot of different things, as well as stuff like vanity, which kind of counteracts sustaining the life. Because once we give the life, a lot of us don't maintain the image that originally attracted you.
Mhm.
So then we have to fight within societal norms to work while pregnant,
Mhm.
but also be able to take off for maternity leave without having to be, literally give birth and then within 2 weeks be back,
back
to
to
work. However, I would argue that the same issues that a woman has, there are some counter sides to that with men. Like, men don't normally get paternity leave.
Mhm.
So once their wife gives birth, they may get a day, maybe a week, and then they're right back to work. They have to.
But would you not say that that's the role of a man as a provider?
To an extent, but I also feel that if you want the father within the family, you have to provide him the accessibility to be there for their family.
And
Like,
this
absolutely.
all goes back to something that I preach all the time on this channel. The reason why the shit is all fucked up is because the financial powers push the dollar down so hard that women have to work, men have to work even more. There's no like, we can't even draw the lines of whose job is what now because of that. It's all blurred. So yeah, you're completely right though. I agree with you that if it was women's job is harder now because y'all have to do both. You have to provide as well as also take care of the kids. So I would agree in that. I would say emotionally it's harder for men right now. And it's because, like the example I gave y'all earlier about what an average man experiences versus an average woman. An average woman is just going to, like, I like to go to places where very depressed women are, like on dating after 30 hashtags, dating after 40 hashtag. There's a subreddit called Forever Alone Women. I very much spend a lot of time in these places because I like to see how small this percentage really is of women, what they're talking about, why they're in that situation, because even a woman that's overweight can still sleep with a guy that's an 8, 9, or 10 because guys will fuck anything sometimes. So I really like to study why these women are like that. It's usually because they have antisocial issues and they have stuff like that. But it's a very small percentage of women that are having that really hard life, like the ones that are really crying and like having a really hard time, I guess, after 30, 40. Because like I always make fun of them and say, hey, you're going to end up with cats and you're going to be alone when you're 40. But at the end of the day, even if they're alone with cats at 40, they can still go fuck guys. There's still 23-year-olds that would love to hook up with a 40-year-old just to say they did it. So that's why there's so much more suicide. There's so much more men that are actually sad and depressed, is because, like I said, an average man is suffering big time. Big time. That's why 30%, like we've talked about before, 30% of men are in between the ages of 18 and 30 are virgins and or haven't had sex this year. It's half of that for women.
But you would say that it's, so you said that a 23-year-old dude would just go mess with a 40-year-old girl because he wants to. So
Yes.
do you not think that's easy for him? Because the woman could just not have morals. Okay, cool. This young dude just want to mess with me. Cool.
Yeah.
But would you not say that's easy for the man? For that 23
Yeah. But we're talking about the average like 30, 40-year-old guy. That's what I'm talking about. They're suffering. Like the average 34-year-old dude, he's suffering. Now, if he did good in life and he's starting to make $100,000, $150,000 a year, he could start making up for shit. He can get in the gym. He could start making up for things, and he could start hitting his prime at 30, 35. But not every man is doing that. Some of them live out in bumfuck wherever, and they're just normal people in rural or Alabama or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do Alabama like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're from there. Hey man, there was a